Hello, and welcome to the Latvian Football Podcast. The Europa League is underway, and one of the largest clubs in the world is about to visit Riga for RFS's first home fixture at almost a fully sold out Daugava stadium. We are, of course, talking about the Turkish club Galatasaray. Today, I'm joined by Ahmet Atasoy, who's also a fellow podcaster with the podcast Tottiler Messiler. And I apologize if I don't pronounce it right. Please correct me.
No,
Um,
no, it's good.
it's good. So we're here to find out a little bit more about Galatasaray, how they're looking at the moment, and what can fans watching the game on Thursday expect. So welcome, Ahmed. How are you today?
Hey, Frank, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We've had the weather's suddenly got a bit cold in Riga, and we've had a bit of rain, but we
That's what Galatasaray fans are afraid of. We hope it's not that cold.
well we might hopefully I'm kind of hoping RFS has to play Ajax in January. I'm hoping they'll play in Riga, and the weather will be provide a bit of a home competitive
Yeah.
advantage. Yeah, how hot is it in Istanbul at the moment?
Today, for the first time since like March, I wear something very uh, jackety. It wasn't a jacket, but it was cold. But for Turkish summer standards, it's cold. It's still very hot in the house right now.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Galatasaray, particularly their away supporters, and what can the home fans in Riga expect on Thursday night?
Well, as everybody in the European football knows, Turkish fans, especially away fans, are very loud. Sometimes they tend to throw stuff at the stadium if things go wrong. I hope things won't go wrong for Galatasaray this time. But yeah, they are loud. They get together in a lot of places in Riga. But this time, I think because of the economic situation in Turkey, there won't be that many Galatasaray fans. One of Riga's RFS managers said just 500 people will come, but I don't know. But in the stadium, they will chant all match. Especially Western Europeans get surprised. How can sing all game for 90 minutes? But if they're there, they are going to sing, they are going to chant.
Well, I think in Latvia we really appreciate a good way support with a good atmosphere. So we're quite excited. What has the Turkish media been reporting with regards to away attendance? Have you heard anything with regards to tickets being sold and so on?
Yeah, I talked to some of the journalist friends I have today, and he said, despite despite some people saying there won't be many people, but in the end, because Turkish immigrants, Turkish expats, there are a lot of Turks in Western Europe, and Riga isn't very close to people living in Germany or Austria, but they will still come. They will perhaps be at Riga's stand, not only away stand. I think it will be a nice atmosphere.
Well, it's a quick hour flight from Germany and
Yeah,
Northern Europe.
I'm very bad at geography, sorry.
Okay, so tell us what how are Galatasaray doing at the moment in the league, and tell us a little bit about how the summer went for them as well.
If we talk about summer, we'll talk about bad things. It was chaotic. Despite winning the league last year, despite winning the league two in a row, Okan Buruk won two titles with Galatasaray. But the summer was chaotic because most fans don't like the board. They don't care that with this board they've won a lot of things. They just want them gone, and they didn't go anywhere. And the transfer window, in my eyes, was good. Galatasaray had two real um, had lacking a good left back for years, and number eight, a good young efficient number eight, and the board got them, and the team is very balanced, one of the most balanced Galatasaray teams I've seen. But because of how the board do things, in spite of doing good things, they can't sell it well. So it was very chaotic. Galatasaray was trying to get a center back, and then they got Osimhen. It was uh, uh, a very weird time for Galatasaray fans in the summer, but the league started well. Okan Buruk, the manager, gets criticism about lately getting bad results from big games. But last week,
Did they get?
Galatasaray beat.
Did they draw on the weekend? Did they draw last weekend, or it was a win?
Last week, we drove at home to a very
3-3.
Yeah, three. Yeah, it was 3-0 in the 30th minute. But before that week, Galatasaray went and beat Fenerbahce convincingly with Jose
Okay.
Mourinho, their coach.
Yeah,
And
Mourinho being the home man, the manager of Fenerbahce. Yeah. So,
yeah,
what stood out in that game when they beat Fenerbahce? Where were they? Was it a very good attacking performance, or as you mentioned, a well balanced team? Was the defense just very solid? What stood out for Galatasaray against Fenerbahce in
what
particular?
stood out, according to the fans, was Davinson Sanchez, Lucas Torreira, and Osimhen playing together. But as you know, with these games, the first 10 minutes, the home team plays great every time with their fans creating a great atmosphere. Once that 10-15 minutes, Galatasaray succeeded in not conceding, then everything was good. Everything was balanced. Gabriel Sara, the player who came from Championship, Norwich City, he was great. Brazilian midfielder. He was great.
Yeah.
Fenerbahce, as you know from Roma, as you know from Tottenham, maybe last 1.5 year of Manchester United, Mourinho, when he is down 1-0, his teams tend to get exposed a lot because he can't create a coherent attack. And when he lumps in a lot of forwards, so the defense is leaking, and Galatasaray punished all those mistakes, and Galatasaray was the better physically fit team. And that
Okay,
was
so Galatasaray were physically strong. Their defense was very, very stable, and they controlled the game through the midfield.
I can say the defense was stable because Okan Buruk is known for a lot of things, but defense is not one of those things. When Galatasaray wins, and Galatasaray wins a lot of games in the last 2 years, I think they just lost 3 or 4 games in the league in like 80 games, 85 games. But when Galatasaray wins, it wins with its attack. Defense wasn't that good, but the team, with its combination of experienced and young, hungry players, when they go on the attack, the opposition tends to get nervous, so they missed a lot of chances, and Galatasaray won in the end.
So supporters in Riga and spectators in Riga should expect Galatasaray to be quite an attacking, constantly attacking team. That's the sort of football they're playing. They're a very attacking team. Do they typically play? What kind of formation have they been playing? And why has it worked out so well, do you think, just in terms of this style of play?
Yeah, the formation is 4-2-3-1 almost always until Osimhen came. When Osimhen came, Okan Buruk, the manager, said they would try 4-4-2, they would try 3-5-2. And at the weekend, when they drew against Kasımpaşa, they started 4-4-2. But almost all the time before Osimhen and Icardi being fit, Galatasaray played 4-2-3-1. Mertens playing behind the striker and with 2 wingers. I guess with Osimhen out now, he has a minor injury, which will keep him out for 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe Icardi, maybe Batshuayi will start. I don't know how fit Icardi is right now. And starting Icardi in a away game against a tough physical team would be difficult. But I'm pretty sure it will be 4-2-3-1. The most important aspect of Galatasaray playing is high press. Okan Buruk is known for his high tempo football with pressing really, really high. And Galatasaray has, in my mind, one of the best backbones at this level, with Davinson Sanchez as central defense and Lucas Torreira in midfield.
Yeah.
With them, they're elite level players for this Europa League
Okay. And what do
competition
you
level.
think? Just a quick summary on last season they won the league. What do you think was the reason why they won the league? Why were they the strongest team?
If you ask the opposition in the Galatasaray fans against Okan Buruk, they won the league because they had the better players, and that's mostly true. But it's not fair to the manager because the playing system he has works almost against every team other than teams like Young Boys who were very physical, who were very smart. But in the league is apart from Galatasaray, Fenerbahçe, and Beşiktaş, the other teams are at their lowest level.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so,
So
as you know,
quality players,
102 points Galatasaray had last year.
yeah.
Fenerbahçe lost the
A,
league with
a
99 points.
combination,
So,
sorry to interrupt, a combination of quality players and good tactics from the manager.
yeah.
Okay.
But some say he has only one play plan. He doesn't have plan B. It's true. I guess you're going to ask about the flaws. I can talk about it then.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, like we'd like to, because we're the Latvian football podcast, we'd like to know how is Latvia football if it perceived in Turkey by Turkish fans. I mean, we had last season in the international games the 3-2 win for the Turkish national team where they scored a very late goal
Yeah.
last minute. But how is Latvian football seen in Turkey and for Turkish fans? And what do you expect fans to go and see when they're in Riga?
Well, to be honest, other than national team, this is my first encounter. This is most Turkish fans' first encounter with Latvian football. We didn't play at club level, I guess, never. Just in late 90s, a team called, sorry for pronunciation, but Ventspils played at Inter Totokat with Kocaeli in Turkey. Other than that, we don't know anything about. But when we get teams like RFS, we tend to think about the Scandinavian teams because we have very bad memories about Scandinavian teams. So, as a Baltic club, we tend to compare RFS to those clubs because, as you know, Turkish clubs have very good players, but mostly they have very old players or not physically fit for the big leagues. And
Yeah.
Scandinavian teams have the best physicality in the world, and so even they have very little budget, they can eliminate Turkish teams. So
Yeah,
we
but
think
it's growing. I
Latvian
think
football is closer to that.
that's I think Latvians would be happy to be perceived as being slightly similar to Scandinavian football. And I guess last time RFS were in the Europa Conference League, they did actually play Istanbul Başakşehir.
Ah, sorry,
But
sorry,
they lost.
I
Yeah,
didn't know.
they lost to them. But they were in the group stages together. But yeah, I remember watching that in the Skonto. So the talking about Scandinavian and Northern European football, the temperatures have recently dropped in Riga. How do Turkish teams typically perform against Northern leagues?
The first thing when we drew RFS, we looked up the schedule to see it's not in January or December because bad weather, cold weather is kryptonite of Turkish football. I can say that. In 2005, with Eric Gerets, Galatasaray got eliminated by a team called Tromsø. I don't know if they're still active. We
Yeah,
hadn't heard
Norway.
about them before. So it is called Tromsø disaster. It's like a real natural disaster. And in 2017, Graham Potter's Östersunds again eliminated Galatasaray. Fenerbahçe lost 6-1 against Nordsjælland just last year. So Turkish teams with their with physicality, they struggle against those teams, and I don't think you are going to they are going to play at a synthetic grass this time. But if
It will be on a
synthetic grass
grass
is
pitch.
kryptonite as well. Is it
Yeah.
natural?
It's a natural pitch, and I think the
That's
weather
good.
has dropped. The weather's dropped. I think it's expected to be about 12 degrees which isn't too bad for Latvia this time of year. But yeah, Thursday is expected to be 12 degrees. Today it's been down to 8. So I believe they'll be training in harsh conditions this week. But I think by the time it comes to the game, we'll see.
12 degrees is manageable.
It's
It's
manageable. It's
better
not
than
bad.
December or
It's good
January.
football weather. It's good football
Yeah.
weather. Yeah. If they might have got lucky on the calendar date, but yeah, RFS are to play Ajax in January, so that will be expected. That's when the sea starts to freeze and things like that. So that should be an interesting one. So just moving on, tell us a little bit about the manager, Okan Burak. What's he famous for? What has he done with his squads? Has he applied? Is he good with bringing in youth, or has he got a certain type of tactic? Or tell us a little bit about the manager.
Well, he has won the league 3 times, 2 times with Galatasaray and one with the club you just called Başakşehir. I'm still embarrassed that I forgot about Başakşehir versus RFS. Sorry for that.
Yeah, I did a bit of research, and he wasn't the manager. He left the year before when
I'm doing a European football podcast on YouTube, so I have to watch a lot of games, and most of them are just I forget about them. Some of
Yeah.
them. So
Well, we
that's
hope
what
you'll be
happened.
covering the Versliga next summer when the football season's a bit
Actually,
quiet.
I quite like Extra Klasa. I know Poland is not
Yeah.
Latvia, but it would be fun. I love learning about leagues and teams I don't know about.
Well,
Back to Okan.
you're always welcome to come and cover the Versliga and have a good conversation about it. But yeah, so a little bit about the manager. He's clearly a winner. He's won the league 3 times. Why is he so successful?
Well, in my eyes, he creates very physical teams playing high tempo football. Even with that Başakşehir team, he had even older players at his helm, and that team was set to close in near future. Not close, but they competed for a while. Then their best manager left for Beşiktaş. When Okan Buruk came, people said, "This team has passed it. They're not going to contend again." And that year, he became the champions. He won the title. So he creates very high tempo playing teams. And I think most defining feature of him as a coach is his high press and bypassing midfield. He
Okay.
just bypasses midfield and sends everyone into the opposition box, crashing the opposition box.
Okay. So he's a very quick game, bypasses. So
Yeah.
is he playing very direct long balls, bypasses midfield,
Yeah.
and then are they quite aggressive in counter-attacking football?
Yeah, yeah.
And so his typical tactics are to just get the ball up there as fast as possible, and let the attackers score the goals.
Yeah, to win the ball back as quick as possible, and then especially with his number 8s and wingers crashing the box with Icardi and Mertens, and playing with Davinson Sanchez and Torreira lets him do these very risky things because I don't know, a lot of people from Europe remember Davinson as being very error prone, and that's true. But I think he is at this level, an elite defender, and he can make errors, but he is so physically gifted that he lets your team play this way every time. And with Torreira, he couldn't do it with big teams because of his height, mostly.
Okay.
And most managers want their number 6 to be taller. But at this level, he is great. He is just ball-winning master. So
So
Okan Buruk,
Sanchez is the disadvantages are that he's quite short.
yeah, yeah. And in some games, in some big games, like against Young Boys is it doesn't have the budget Galatasaray have, of course, but they were very organized, and his disadvantages maybe showed themselves in those games. But in the league, it just does what it needs to be done.
Okay, so what do you feel are the weak spots in the Galatasaray team?
Well, with this high press and bypassing midfield, as you can guess, Galatasaray struggles when opposition presses high in an organized manner, and Galatasaray just can't play out from the back. The team is lacking in building a patient passing patterns. Okan Buruk's biggest, to me, in my eyes, biggest disadvantage is he just can't create a team against a tough, high-pressing opponent to play out from the back. Like I said, the young boys did just that. They weren't that special. They just pressed high. When they couldn't press really high, they were very organized in mid-block. And Galatasaray just couldn't just threw long balls, but the team was more physical than Galatasaray at that time. Galatasaray is not at the same level. At that time, 1 month ago, Galatasaray was a bad team. Now Galatasaray is a better team. But they got the second balls. Whenever Galatasaray tried long balls, the opposition got the second balls. And with their quick players, they just demolished Galatasaray's defense.
Okay, so being caught on the counter attack and build up play, they occasionally struggle. Final question, and then I guess that's the end of this conversation. But what do you predict the score will be come Thursday night?
Galatasaray tends to concede in these types of games before getting back on the score sheet. So I think Riga will score. Maybe they will score the first goal. But this team is too good to lose at this point in my mind. Because they were complacent in the last week, they let 3-0 victory end up 3-3. But this time, I guess, with Icardi returning, it would be 2-1 Galatasaray win. I can say Galatasaray will lose.
Okay, well, I mean, from a neutral perspective, RFS aren't my team, but of course we want to see all Latvian teams do well in Europe. We'll fingers crossed, and we'll see what the outcome is. But
can I ask you a question?
Really good game. Yes, yeah.
Do they have quick wingers?
They do, but they've got a couple of injuries. Their fastest winger Emerson is currently injured, but they've got a certain type of play, and they are still learning in Europe, and they are still adapting, and the league doesn't quite present the experience for competition like Europe does. So they can play. They just need to gain a bit more experience, and they're quite a big build-up team as well. But you never know with RFS; they can be quite good physically. But I guess that's all we have time for today, Ahmed. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me, Frank.
Not a problem.